Hello, and welcome back to Drunk Makeup, where I get drunk and I do makeup. Last time I did this, it was like a Christmas episode, and I definitely overdid it. Once it gets to 6, I'm not going past that. That's just too crazy. But you know, I have some chicken nuggets in my system. I have water. I'm gonna be chasing my shots with some Gatorade, so that's electrolytes, because I was down for the count last time I did this. So we're gonna take it a little slower. But today the makeup look I'm gonna do is Zara Larrson inspired, midnight sun, bright colors on my eyes, pink blush, heavy blush. I'm also gonna put on falsies, which I haven't done since high school, so we'll see how that goes. And I'm gonna be telling stories about school. Not from when I was in school, but working at schools. So I guess I should say, welcome to summer school. I don't know why I thought that would be cooler. Been to lots of different schools, worked with lots of different grades, and have had some crazy experiences. So I'm gonna share those while I drink and do my makeup. Before we can get started, I'm gonna have to take my first shot. Kind of have PTSD from the last time I did this. You got this. You got this, girl. First shot is complete. It was a little ucky, but I was strong. I've already done a base, so I have primer and foundation on, but let's get into the first step, which is gonna be to contour. When I'm doing my natural look, I don't really put contour up here, but it's midnight sun. Summer isn't over yet. It's like literally mid-January. I'm going to contour my nose, but let's get into a story. This is like the most recent one I can think of, and it happened a couple years ago, I believe. This was my first job after moving here, and it was kind of at this like fancy school. A lot of these kids had very rich parents, and unfortunately, sometimes with money comes entitlement. Even though like they're 7 or 8, just like the way they would talk to you is crazy. And I don't know if it's also because a lot of their social development happened during COVID, so you know, they're missing some skills. And a lot of the kids, super sweet. Like 90% of the kids, I was like, these kids are awesome. And it was cool because it's an international school, so a lot of people from different backgrounds. But again, you know, there's a few kids where I was like, oh my God, how have you not been suspended yet and kicked out of this school? Let's go to blush. Gonna use my hourglass. And this part's gonna be fun because I'm gonna do heavy. The incident I want to talk about is this little dude. He's a first grader, so you know, don't send hate to his comments. Just kidding, I'm not gonna name him. I'll give a code name, Gary. And Gary had an older brother named Terry. And Terry was actually like in like the main group of kids I taught, but we're talking about Gary. Gary is who I had the big problem with this day. And yeah, Gary was a troublemaker. What we did with troublemakers, you know, is we'd have them like sit out of activities. And we'd always have these like fun Fridays where we would like put on a movie or do something fun and have like a special snack, special treat for the kids. And so we would, you know, use that as leverage. Like if you're not gonna behave during the week, then you're not gonna earn Friday fun day. Yeah, this kid was on the road to losing lots of Friday fun days. You know, he's on a bad path. This is the situation that happened, most egregious one. I was waiting outside of the bathroom, letting the kids go to the bathroom before snack time. And all of a sudden I hear like screaming in the boys' bathroom. I'm not gonna enter the boys' restroom because that's not appropriate. And like, unless I thought someone was like in danger, I go to like the little in-between corridor and I'm like, hey, like come out right now. Like whoever you guys are, come out right now. And sure enough, Gary comes out, and he wasn't one screaming, but a couple of his pals, they look a little bit in distress, but like now they're laughing about it. I asked them what happened. I tell Gary, go away, you know, go sit down. I'm gonna talk and get the real story, because Gary is also a liar. That first grader lying all the time. I'm gonna blend this out. So when I almost said interrogating, I was conversing with the other kids, trying to get their story. I'm like, why were you guys screaming in the bathroom? And the kids were like, oh, while I was in my stall, Gary looked like he had poop all over his hands and reached under my stall and was like crawling under my stall to touch me with it. And I'm like, kind of believed it for a second, but I was like, that's kind of insane for Gary to do. Like, Gary's crazy, but typically Gary's not making a biohazard at school. Go to Gary, and I'm like, what's going on? And like his other friends kind of like chime in, they're like, oh, like, no, it was Nutella, It was one of those like little Nutella snack packs with like the little breadsticks and a whole bunch of Nutella. And you know, something possessed this kid. Instead of just using the restroom like a normal person, he was like, let me terrorize my friends. I like tell his teacher, and I'm like, we gotta talk to his parent today, because you can't be doing that. First of all, you're like invading another kid's private space by going in under their stall, and you're like threatening not bodily harm, but something disgusting. I want every child to feel like safe especially when they're using the restroom, like damn. So I'm like, we need to talk to this kid's parents, and he shouldn't have his Friday fun day. And maybe I'm a bitch for that I won't let this kid have ice cream on Friday for something he did on Wednesday or Thursday. When we have like a little incident form, I like was trying to fill one of those out, and I was like, okay, like when that kid's parent comes to pick him up, when the parent comes to pick up Gary and Terry, I'm gonna walk them down there, and I'm gonna have a talk with his parent. They get called to pick up. They're like, Gary and Terry, go home, please. Gary and Terry, go home. We walk them down there so we can have a talk with the parent. Just by the looks of the parent, it was the dad, I could just tell this conversation wasn't gonna go anywhere positive or productive. Sometimes you can tell when a person is just entitled and they are so set in their ways that anything that in their head is criticism of them or their children, it's like goes one ear and out the other. They don't care. No wonder, because your kids misbehave all day, every day. And it's because you don't care. As a kid, I was very opposite. Like, I was well behaved as fuck at school. Like, I would always get my report cards in elementary school back, and they'd be like, Samantha was a pleasure to have in class. I was always that girl. But then at home, I was a terror. I was an only child. I was throwing screaming fits. I was a brat. I was terrible. But, you know, at school, I was a little angel. So I can't imagine. The way these kids were, like, speaking to me, I couldn't imagine talking to an adult like that when I was a kid. But whatever. We start to explain the situation, and Gary and Terry are like sitting to the side, and I'm mostly telling the dad, because I was more of the witness, even though I didn't like have eyes on the actual scene because I was not in the bathroom. I told the dad the story, and he was like, and you saw this? Well, did you see it with your own eyes? And I was like, no, I'm not allowed to go to the bathroom. You wouldn't want me monitoring your child in the actual restroom. That's weird as fuck. Like, there has to be some sort of like level of trust and respect that I don't have to stand outside the stalls. So no, you know, my eyes didn't see it, but my ears heard the screams of the terrified children. But he was like, He's like automatically suspicious, like, oh, you didn't see it. Okay, we got a nice little like layer of blush going. I'm gonna actually, wish me luck. We're going for shot number 2, guys. Shot number 2, let's go. Guys, I'm just like really scared of getting sick. Usually I don't care about throwing up because like low-key I do get sick all the time, but last time was so bad. I had my water and I ate a cracker in between too. I don't know if that's doing anything. Maybe it's more of a placebo effect. I have to go on my phone and find the TikTok tutorial. Sorry, I don't know what to do. There's like so many colors I could do. I'm gonna be primarily doing my own thing, I think. I think I'm gonna be improvising. I definitely want to incorporate yellow because I've never used the yellow in this Maddie Ziegler palette, because yellow is not an eyeshadow color I go for. But today's the fucking day, you know? If we're gonna go midnight sun, I think I'd have to have some yellow and some blue. So the dad kind of like is giving me a look, and he turns to his son. He's like, did you do this? Did you put Nutella on your hands and crawl under the stalls and like pretend you were gonna touch your classmates with your poopy fingers? And he was like, no. And then the dad turns to me and he's like, see? And I was like, so, like I said, I have witnesses just because I didn't physically see it. Based on your child's past behavior and the words of others and the screams I heard, the Nutella packet snack I saw, your kid's guilty. I don't know what words I used, but I was like, children lie, and we've caught this kid in a lie before, so it's not crazy to think that he could lie again. I'm the adult here. I'm not trying to get kids in trouble. I was a kid once. I don't like being in trouble, but sometimes if you're in trouble, you deserve to be in trouble, because this kid was whack. And once I met his parents, I could tell why. You can always tell why. Once you meet a misbehaving kid's parent, most of the time it's like, oh, It's from you. But yeah, I say something kind of calling out the kid, being like, well, he's not telling the truth. And I kid you not, the dad goes, my kid has never lied, nor will he ever lie. Whoa, whoa, what an absolute, how do you know that? Wow, that's amazing that you know that for a fact that in the future, your kid will never tell a lie ever. What are you talking about? People lie. I lie a lot, white lies here and there, sometimes a big lie. I'm shocked by this dad because I've met a lot of frustrating parents who kind of think their child can do no wrong. But I mean, this was taken to the max. You're telling me your kid has never lied about anything? Like, that's just not true. Children lie. People, human beings lie. That's just like a fact. But you know, and my friend was trying to back me up, the girl who was actually Gary's teacher, and she was like, I mean, you know, we've had talks with you before about his behavior. And so we were like, basically what's gonna happen is he's not gonna be able to have his Friday treat. We needed the dad to sign the incident report, just like saying like, oh, this happened. And he refused to do it. He was like, there is no witness in the bathroom. Like, I don't know if this is true, so I'm not signing it. I'm not signing, and just like refused to sign it. And then eventually he was like, yeah, we don't have time for this. And he just like left. I don't think Gary got consequences at home. It was like toward the end of the school year too. So I think like low-key, they just didn't come back to the extended day program. Imagine not being able to take accountability of your own kid, your own parenting or lack of parenting, and just being like, oh, all these adults are lying, all these other kids are lying. My kid would never lie. My kid has never lied, nor will he ever lie. You sound stupid. You sound stupid as fuck. It was so frustrating. I remember like my friend and I, the other teacher, we went and talked to our boss about it. And we were like, this man, you can tell when a man like hates women or like doesn't respect them. Everything that was coming out of my mouth, he had no respect for what I was saying. And I couldn't help but to feel like if a man was delivering exactly what I was saying, he would have believed me. Because it was just, I don't know, it was the way he was looking at me, the way he was like reacting, and the words he was using, it felt like a misogyny thing. That same school, there is another story that I just remembered that is kind of more fucking insane. But okay, so we did yellow. There's gonna be some blending involved later, but let's go ahead. Kind of want to get into blue. So there's this other kid. Let's call him Zach. And Zach was a kindergartner. At that particular school, we didn't have a lot of behavioral problems with the kindergartners. They were pretty chill. This kid kind of had a troubled life somewhat. And he was always on the verge of getting kicked out of the program because he also had many behavioral issues. At one point, he got suspended from actual school, not just the extended day program, for like throwing a chair in the classroom. I don't know if it was at a teacher or at a wall or what. Imagine a 5-year-old getting so angry and upset that they're throwing a chair. An in-between color, I think I should go pink. I want to go purple because my nails are purple. He would have these like outbursts, and if he had to like sit still for a long time, that was really hard for him. He probably had ADHD too. Like he probably needed some Adderall, who knows. I would do little dance classes, and so I'd have like dance class with the kindergartners. And I remember we had come back from winter break. I asked like, does anyone want to share like one fun thing they did over our winter break? A couple kids, they're like, oh, I visited my grandparents, or oh, I got this present for Christmas, or because these kids are rich. Don't forget that these kids are rich. They're like, oh yeah, we flew to Australia for break. Or they would always be saying shit like that. They would go on lavish vacations. Finally, I call on this Zach kid. I already know his backstory, that his mom is single and that his like parents are divorced. But he starts off being like, oh, I got to see my dad over break. And I'm like, oh, I'm nodding. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. And he proceeds to tell me and everyone else it was kind of a sad visit though, because his dad got shot and then died. So I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I hope like you're feeling okay and we can like talk about this later if you'd like. But I'm like, I think I'm like looking at the other teacher in the room like, we gotta talk to somebody about this. If this is true, this is incredibly fucking sad. Like this kid already kind of has a troubled life and now his dad got shot and killed and somehow he knows these details. Did it happen in front of him? Is this looking cute or dumb? Let me go back to my tutorial, guys. I feel like I look like a clown. It's less Midnight Sun and more like circus. Maybe I just go bigger so I'm not embarrassed. Does that make sense? Like, I'll just commit really hard even if it looks bad. Oh, and I forgot this part. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, my dad got like shot and killed. And then he's like, but I did go to Chuck E. Cheese. So I was like, trying to focus on that part. I was like, well, it sounds really fun that you went to Chuck E. Cheese. I'm planning on talking to my boss, like the director of the after school program. Mom came in and wanted to talk to my boss. And so I figured that was the conversation because they went outside and I was like, oh yeah, she's having a serious discussion about how her ex-husband was shot and killed and somehow Zach was a witness to it or he found out too much information and his dad's dead and all this stuff. And so when my boss comes back inside, I go up to her and I'm like, did she tell you what happened? Like I'm in on some secret. And she was like, oh yeah, like she just needs to let me know that she's gonna continue to pick up Zach on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from the program, but his dad is gonna pick him up Tuesday and Thursday. And I'm like, oh cool. And they're like, wait, wait, what? Like a ghost is gonna pick up this child? That's crazy. And so I tell her the story I heard in dance class, and she kind of gives me a look and she's like, his dad is not dead. It's not like my grandma died and I went to her funeral and I'm really sad. Like that's a kind of a normal kid thing to say to me. Like I've heard like a lot of stories where people like died or lied about their grandparents dying, but he was like, no, my dad was like shot and killed. And I was like, oh. I'm putting blush kind of like over my eyebrows because I see a lot of the looks doing that. I'm gonna come back with another story. I gotta take a shot. Wish me fucking luck. Say good luck, Sam. Good luck, Samantha. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I got a calendar. And I customized it on Etsy, so each month is a different movie. Isn't that so fun? And this month, it's a Nora. Fun! I want to add another color to my eyeshadow. I know. Samantha, you already have blue, pink, and yellow. It's not enough, and I want purple. Are you gonna sue me? Are you gonna hit me? Huh? And let me go into my next story. So this takes place not in Atlanta. This is before I moved. I was still in college. This job happened, I was going to FSU. So the school was in Tallahassee, and again, I was in an elementary school after school program. I'm really digging the way this purple looks, and I think I'm gonna add it under my under eye. This particular child was not in my like little grade group. He was in 3rd grade, and he, like every teacher knew that this kid had issues. Like keep a close eye on, I'm gonna give him a name. Polly, let's try that. So Polly had lots of issues. We were doing this thing around the holidays where we were putting together a show, a little production, not each grade group, because it was actually all mixed. It was like the kids got to pick a certain holiday they wanted to do, so we had like Christmas, Hanukkah, Ramadan, Kwanzaa. I think I had Chinese New Year. I'm an arts girly. I was literally had like going for my theater degree. So, you know, I was all over that. I was super excited, like the kids who chose Chinese New Year. I wrote this whole little skit, little scene. For some reason they had like the dragon head, so it was really cutesy. But unfortunately, Polly chose Chinese New Year, so he was in my group. As I was approaching the show, we would have to have practices every day with our group for like, 45 minutes. This kid kind of has violent outbursts. So I'm always on the lookout, especially when he was with my 1st graders or like the kindergartners. We had this one practice and he was really just like frustrated. And he even had like a special part because I was like trying to help him. I was trying to give him an outlet. I'm like, obviously this kid has issues at home. And I want extended day to at least be like a fun, safe place for him to express himself creatively. So, he had lines, he had a special part. But this one day, he was just like having a terrible time. Like we were going to practice in this portable, so we all had to walk as a group, and he would just like yell, scream, just like, like stomp. Sometimes we were like stretched thin staff-wise, so I'd be on the radio being like, hey, can so-and-so come and like pick up Polly because he's disrupting the group. And I remember nobody could take him away from my group, so I was like, I knew I was stuck with him. Part of his role was he had this like wooden stick, and it had like a little hook. It was like I guess it was like a cane sort of thing. Oh yeah, because I think his role was like he was like an old man. And I look over, and he has like the cane with the hook, and he's put the hook part around one of my first graders' necks and started yanking. And I'm like a couple feet away. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I take it away from him, but he kind of like choked her out for a second with that cane. And I was like, Polly, that is unacceptable. Like, you can't do that. And of course he throws a bigger fit. And my boss like comes to me later and he's like, do you want him to be in the show? Do you want him like kicked out of your group? And I didn't want to kick him out of the group because, just like I said, this kid was struggling. This kid was having a hard time, and I didn't want to take this away from him. So I was like, no, don't kick him out of the group. You know, the show's next week. It's fine. But it was just insane. And I don't know if like other teachers or people who work at schools can relate to this, and I feel awful saying this. But sometimes you know when a kid is gonna be like a serial killer. I hate saying that, but sometimes you can tell. You can like sense things. And this kid was so violent, so often. Always felt like he had the right to put his hands on you. And again, he's in 3rd grade. His behavior seemed like it was escalating. I wouldn't be surprised if 15 years from now he's on the news. And like, what a terrible thing to say, but also he was acting nutso. I think I like this. I kinda can't tell. I wish I had like sparkles. I think I can go bigger. Bigger is better. Hopefully Polly is doing better now. I think he would be in middle school at this point, maybe. So, you know, hopefully he, you know, got medicated, went to therapy, whatever the hell. Eyeshadow blush is kind of complete, so I guess I have to take another shot. Aw, man, not another shot. Let's do eyebrows. And let's hop into our next story. Same school. It's my senior year of college. About to graduate from FSU. I made friends with some of the counselors because at this point, we've been working like, I don't know, a solid like 7-8 months together. So, you know, I've gotten like pretty close with a lot of them. And it's kind of a trauma bond. I feel like any coworker situation, you're a little bit trauma bonded, whether you're working at a restaurant, retail, or God forbid with kids. I was friends with my co-teacher for first grade. Like, that was my first friend. And then I also made this other friend. And I don't think I'll give her a code name. It's just my friend. So I'm like making friends with her, but we're not like, you know, like close friends yet, but we're like friendly. And there's this other guy that, you know, I've been kind of finding attractive, and I've noticed we started like, after a couple months, we've started like flirting. It was fun. It's like fun to have a work crush, but you know, also, I'm not trying to like shit where I eat at. I'm not going for that. I don't like pursue co-workers because if, you know, it doesn't work out, it's just fucking awkward afterward, and you just like have to see them every day and interact with them every day. Let me give him a name. Jeremy. Let's call him Jeremy. If you remember from my last story, like the holiday show, I can't remember what his holiday was, but he gave me like a bracelet during that time. We were all practicing and stressed out. He gave me a bracelet like representing his holiday. And I was like, aw, that's like fun. And also he wasn't like giving that to anybody else. So I was like, okay, clearly we have some sort of connection going on. And we'd have some sort of banter at the end of the day, like when the kids weren't paying attention. Like nothing inappropriate, but you know, it'd be like a little flirty at the end of the day when we were like putting our radios up. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna put like too much into this, but it's fun to have a little bit of a work crush. Things sort of, sorry, I have to like use like 100% of my brain power to figure out what I need to do next. First of all, I'm gonna put on chapstick, Jesus Christ. This is telling me I need to put on mascara before I put on the false lashes, and I'm assuming I put mascara on afterward. Eventually, like, we get each other's numbers, and he asked me out on a date. And I'm also getting closer with my other co-workers. My friend Michael, who's like my coworker for my first grade group, and then my friend Gab, like we probably hung out a couple times, but again, I wasn't like super close with her yet. And these are really old too. I've just like never used them. Sally, they look so natural. La 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 lashes. I need to get my lash glue. You'll have to give me a minute. I lied, guys. I said I was getting my lash glue, which I did. I had to buy some because I haven't done this in so long. But I actually did take another shot. Sorry, I was already out there. These are probably so... So I'm crushing on this guy. We have some banter. Eventually we like get each other's numbers, and he asked me out to the ice cream shop. I don't think this is gonna go well. I know I keep saying that, but I really don't think it's gonna go well. He buys my ice cream. We talk for like a couple hours. I think it went pretty well. You know, I tell him about myself. He tells me about himself. We're eating dairy, you know, typical date. I'm not too invested yet because I don't trust men like that. But I'm like, this is fun. You know, probably not gonna go anywhere serious because I'm about to graduate and move. He's about to graduate. This is just for funsies. Okay, wish me luck, wish me luck. Oh, cool. So that didn't work out. Should I even try? Should I even try again? I think it's because these are old. Like they're falling apart. Like it didn't even come off as like one lash. I can't do this, guys. I can't do it. And I'm mad because I bought lash glue. And now I need to fix my eyeshadow because that shit fucked up my eyeshadow. I'm pissed. Fucking pissed. Wait, what? Have you guys seen that show, Overcompensating? She goes, that one like blonde girl, she's like, pissing me off. Pissing me off. And that's like that was a vocal stim of mine when I was watching that show. Anyway, let's fix my fucking eyeshadow. But yeah, I'm thinking we'll go on dates, we'll hang out. It'll just be like a fun little time before we both go our separate ways. Like I'm not putting too much pressure on it, but I'm like, this guy's into me. And I'm kind of into him. I'm excited about the situation. And I remember I visit my friend, and this is only our second or third time coming out. And naturally, since we met at work and we mostly spend time at work, we started talking about work and people at work and our coworkers. And we start talking about Jeremy. And I'm ready to like, you know, spill some tea, be like, oh, we just went on an ice cream date. You know, I think I got the info. And my friend Gap is like, yeah, he's kind of weird. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I didn't get that impression from him. She tells me something insane, which is that they've already flirted and like hooked up. And I'm like, well, this is weird because I'm your friend. And now I was kind of like pursuing him. And then she goes kind of into detail about their situation and the fact that Jeremy has asked out every woman at his work. I'm sitting there thinking I'm special. I don't pursue coworkers like that because I don't want those sort of awkward situations unless it's like worth it, you know, unless it's gonna be fun, beneficial, net positive for me. Not only had he, you know, flirted and got with my friend, my current new friend, he's also asked out several other coworkers, which like maybe that doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you're like working with a group of 10 people and you've asked out every woman that's single and attractive, I'm sorry, you're a fucking freak for that. Mascara is done. I was shocked because I'm like, I'm the hottest bitch out there. Just like when I'm in my head, like thinking about how other people perceive me because I'm cocky and maybe a little narcissistic. I'm so cool. I'm so pretty. Of course someone's into me. Of course this hot guy is into me. And of course he's pursuing me only. And this isn't a regular thing. He just like, you know, as he was working there, found me attractive. Because that's how I view things. I don't just like go to work or go to school or go to the grocery store and plan on asking every single person out because I need some dick. I don't. Dick isn't even that fun. And I'm also slightly inebriated when I get this information, so not in a great place when she like brings this up. And I think, I don't know if you guys know about Be Real, but Be Real was a thing, and I think as soon as she told me, the Be Real thing went off and I had to be real, you know? So, you know, I'm not emotionally devastated, but I'm like shook and I'm a little angry and sad. The Be Real goes off as she's like telling me that information. So I take it and I'll include it in this video if I find it. But it's like, it's funny because I'm like, because I forget about the audacity of men. That they just think that's like normal. That's weird. Why are you trying to mass date people at the same place? He doesn't know that I'm getting really close to my friend. Now I know your character and I don't, like all of that attraction I felt kind of went away in that moment. Now that I know who you are. And I don't know if that's like a woman thing, because it's like no matter how hot you are, because he was hot, like he was hot, he was he worked out, he was fit, face was a little weird, but sorry. We were kind of awkward with each other. And I remember at one point, because it was like summer school, so it was after I graduated, and he wasn't even working there, but sometimes he would like help out and like volunteer to help with the kids for like little field trips. And I remember one time I was like in a bind at a bowling alley, and I was like, can you go watch my group of kids while I take these two kids to the restroom or wherever it was? And he ended up doing it, and I think he thought that meant we were on like friendly terms again. Joke's on you. He texted me and I was like, no, this isn't happening again. I still don't trust you, and I know who and what you are. You think with your dick, and that's okay. It's like very common for people your age, but I don't respect it, and I don't welcome it in my life. Okay, shot number 5, I believe. Good luck to me. I'm back. I'm trying to remember what to do next. I think I look pretty. Okay, now let's do some highlighter. Working at a school is crazy. You go through an emotional roller coaster. Because on one hand, it's so rewarding. The kids that are great and like soak up what you're teaching them, whether it's an actual subject like math, science, or the arts, or it's just like, you know, basic human empathy, it feels so good that you're like contributing something positive to the next generation, because, you know, they're our future, and I believe that like small moments in their childhood impact them later in life and how they develop, because I know it did for me. I think I'm gonna go for my lips. Last thing I need to do is lips and like setting spray, so I guess let's take another shot. I'm sad because I can't find my lip liner, but that's okay. I'm gonna do a fun color that I usually don't do because it's like hot pink, but I think it would make sense for this look. Okay, I don't think it looks good. You know what would help with making this even? Lip liner. I love my lip gloss because not only does it have a charm, little heart charm, but it's like a lip plumper. So make your lips look big and juicy. I don't know if this looks good at all. Wait, I think this is pretty. I can't tell. I'm drunk. I'm gonna set it. I don't know if that was a lot. Final makeup look. Let me try to put together a little outfit. That's Midnight Sun. I got my Barbie shirt on. I have my I have my Barbie shirt on, but I think I can do better. Sorry to disappoint. Here's the final look, I guess. Hopefully you enjoyed. What should I call this? Midnight summer school, something like that. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe because it's fun. Like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Bye. The skinny dipping with your heart out there. We don't have to tell no one. Okay, I'm done admiring myself.